Hi friends, welcome to my channel, YiaYia's Heart Tarot. Today I'll be channeling weekly messages from the departed. But before we start with that, I'd like to share with you some visions that I had in the meditation that I do in preparation for this reading. I've done this in the past, and sometimes I get messages and sometimes I just get impressions, perhaps. Today was more of an impressions type of visions. I believe that these impressions are to help you know who might be coming through for the readings. So, but I'll let you kind of interpret them. I'll give you some of my interpretations as well. But I believe that this is mostly just to kind of give you an idea of who might be coming through for you today. So the first vision that I had was of a white marble baptismal font, I believe at the rear of a church. There was also a vision of a man with kind of salt and pepper hair, and he had glasses on. They were almost cat-eye glasses, kind of in a light tannish, orangish color almost. Not like a garish orange, but just sort of a almost like a tortoiseshell, but kind of lighter than a tortoiseshell. So it was almost as though they were a bit whimsical. He struck me as perhaps a pastor or a priest, but perhaps someone with a bit of a sense of humor with regard to these glasses that he was wearing. So I'm not sure, again, I'm not sure if what that message meant. That could be something to do with when your loved one passed, who officiated over the ceremonies. It could have to do with the fact that there was a baptismal font, or it may have been a holy water container. Forgive me, I don't know the names for all of the pieces of the church. So it could have something to do with perhaps an infant, or honestly, I'm not sure, but I very distinctly saw that vision, so I'll put that out there for you. The next vision that I saw was of someone who was riding a bicycle, and they were a bit of a daredevil, very carefree, kind of almost clownish. They were being silly on this bike, sitting on the seat but riding with their hands and their feet off of the bicycle, or just holding onto the handlebars with their feet out, just being kind of silly. And I got the distinct impression that the bike was kind of a pale orange, with possibly yellow on it as well. Again, almost the same color as the glasses, so I'm not sure if there's something there also, orange and yellow. I also had the impression, although I distinctly saw a bicycle, I also had the impression that it could have been a motorcycle. So I believe that this may be a clue as to perhaps the way someone passed, or what they were like when they were during their life, in their lifetime. So there was that vision. I then had some sensations. I had a sensation in my right lower jaw of some pain. Wasn't a severe pain, and it almost felt more like a contusion. That was sort of in between the baptismal font and the bicycle. So I don't know if perhaps the individual on the bicycle had some sort of an accident that involved their jaw on the right side. It could have been completely unrelated to that. It could have been something to do with something that someone had going on that you knew about, a loved one that has passed. Maybe somebody had TMJ and their jaw clicked all the time, or maybe they had teeth problems. It didn't seem like severe, deep pain or ache. It really felt more like a contusion, almost more like a bruise. So if that means something to someone as far as, a significant event that happened in your loved one's life, or something to do with the way they passed, there was that. I also had the sensation in my mouth of having something. I used to have a pierced tongue, and so sometimes a stud that you would wear through a tongue piercing would have a ball on the top, and if you press that up against the roof of your mouth, that's kind of the sensation that I felt, as though there was something pressing against the roof of my mouth, something rounded and almost like a fullness in the roof of my mouth, so it kind of almost pushed up against the roof of my mouth. I felt as though this could be indicating perhaps someone having some sort of nausea. So perhaps if you had a loved one who was undergoing some sort of chemo treatment for cancer when they passed, and had a great deal of nausea associated with that, or some other type of treatment, or perhaps an illness that brought about a great deal of nausea, that could have an indication of who might be coming through for you. Could also indicate some sort of a tumor in the mouth. It could indicate a tumor in the pituitary, which is above the mouth, above the roof of the mouth. So a pituitary tumor, some sort of a brain tumor. It could also have been an indication of an individual who may have had a stroke, who ended up being left with the inability to speak, or the inability to swallow, or some detriment with regard to speaking, swallowing, something to do with the mouth. So there was that vision or feeling that I had as well, and pretty much that was the bulk of what I saw and felt during the meditation. So I feel as though there wasn't so much messages there as just perhaps an indication of who might be coming through in the reading for you. So I wanted to put that out there to begin with, just to kind of give you something maybe to think about, or if that just jumps out at you, then you may know who will be coming through in your reading. So with that said, I will be moving on with the readings. We're going to do 2 readings today. As always, the readings will be linked to a timestamp below in the description, so whichever reading you choose to go directly to your reading, simply click on the timestamp that corresponds to your group, and it'll take you straight to your reading. So, without further ado, let's go to the readings. The first reading, group number 1, is this Amethyst Cathedral, and this oracle card from the Buddhism reading cards, I believe is what they're called. So the Amethyst Cathedral and this oracle card. The second group, group number 2, is this clear quartz tower, which has lots of shimmer and rainbows in it, and along with this oracle card. So the clear quartz tower and this oracle card. So take whatever time you need to decide which group calls to you, the Amethyst Cathedral or the clear quartz tower. If you need to pause the video, that's fine. If you wish to watch the entire video, of course, that's fine as well. But take the time that you need to decide which group you would like to hear, and I will see you at your reading. Hi, Group 1. This is your reading, the Amethyst Cathedral. I'm being called to use this particular deck. I'm not sure how this is going to go. I may end up switching decks. I just wanted to let you know ahead of time. This is a type of an oracle deck. It's called the Crystal Ally deck. And I'm not sure how it's going to work for this. It may work fine, it may not. If it does, I'll just let you know ahead of time. I may need to switch to a different deck, but I'm feeling really strongly guided that I need to use this deck, at least to start with. So that's what we're going to do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see if we can get some messages to represent who's coming through for you, what departed is coming through for you. So Spirit, could we get some messages, please, to represent the departed who is coming through for group number 1, please? Who's coming through for group number 1? Okay. Okay. So we got Amazonite, and we got Fulgurite. So this individual was a soft-spoken, very kind individual. They were someone that there was nothing really particularly outstanding about them. And that's the way that they liked it, actually. They were probably sort of quietly in the background most of the time. They weren't somebody who monopolized conversations. In fact, they probably would join in on the conversation, but only if they were asked to, like a specific question. If they were asked something specific, they would happily join into the conversation. But then, whatever they would say would be brief, and then they would sort of fade back into the background again. And that's who they were for the most part. And very, very kind individual. Just very, very kind individual. Always made you feel at home. But every once in a while, this individual would... No, I take that back. There was something in this individual's life. There was an occurrence in this individual's life where they were basically kind of a hero. It was something that they didn't plan for. It was something that just happened out of the blue, and they happened to be at the right place at the right time. And they stepped up and did something that was just very heroic, and something that no one would ever have expected them to be able to do, let alone to do whatever it was that they did. I think this was a one-time occurrence in their life, and it's not something that they talk about. It's not something that a lot of people even know about them, but and they're very humble about it. They don't like to be recognized for it. They don't like to even talk about it. But it was a very significant event that happened in their life at one time. I'm also getting a feeling that there may have been, for some others who are coming through, there may have been a tragic event in their life that happened one time. Either of these events were a long time ago, before they passed. It was in their adult life, but quite some time before they passed. Something that's in their history, something that they don't really talk about. And for some of them, it was the stepping up to be a hero. And for some of them, it was a tragedy in their life. They may have lost a child, or I feel as though it was something that was taken away from them tragically before their time. So, and something very significant that either way, whether this was some heroic event that they performed or some tragedy in their life, it changed them. It impacted them very much. It didn't outwardly change them a lot, because they were always this kind, quiet individual, but it inwardly impacted them. It made quite an impact on their life. And again, they didn't talk about it much. I feel as though this was something that they held very close to the vest. They didn't like to talk about it, whether it was because it was painful, or whether because it was, to them, it was almost embarrassing if this was a heroic kind of a thing. But that's who's coming through for you right now. This very kind, humble, welcoming, loving individual who had some sort of a very one-time significant event happen in their lives, whether that was where they stepped up and performed some sort of heroic event, or whether it was a tragedy in their life. So hopefully that will help you to know who it is that's coming through for you. Excuse me one moment. I forgot to take this off. I don't like to wear that when I'm reading. Okay. So let's get some cards, please, to represent the relationship that Group 1 had with this departed. Spirit, what is the relationship that Group 1 had with this departed? What is their relationship with the departed? Okay, let's see. No, I still feel like I need to use this deck. Spirit, what is the relationship that Group 1 had with the departed, please? What is their relationship with the departed? Spirit, please help me get clear messages. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, we got amethyst and we got citrine. Amethyst and we got citrine, which is interesting since this is the amethyst group. So your relationship with this departed, I feel as though this was a parent, probably a mother. This is someone who gave you life and they brought things into your life to make sure that you were abundant, that you had what you needed for your life. This was someone who provided for you. This is someone who watched out for you. This is someone who you had just this unshakable connection with them. You had a very, very, very deep, loving connection with them. You relied upon this individual. You knew that they would always be there for you, and this individual would do anything or give up anything for you. But not just you. There were others. I feel like maybe there were other siblings that you had. I really, really get sort of a mother vibe from this. And that wouldn't necessarily be the case for all of you. This could also be some sort of a mentor or a teacher in your life that was very important to you. Someone who taught you how to be successful. Someone who helped you find your way in the world. So it could be someone like that as well. It could be, like I said, a mentor or a teacher who really helped you to understand life, that they helped you to see how to get ahead. They may have instilled in you a sense of self-confidence that you didn't have before you met them or knew them. So that's the relationship that you had with this individual, either a mother relationship or a mentor to you. Either way, this was someone who really facilitated your life and helped you become successful and abundant and strong and sturdy, and just they helped you become a whole person. They helped you become fulfilled in your life. So, okay, now I need to switch decks. Spirit, what is the question or query? What does Group 1 want to know from the departed? What question do they have for the departed? What is Group 1's, what do they want to know from their departed? What does group 1 want to know from the departed? What is their question? What is their query? What is their concern? Okay. All right, so we got the Moon, Judgment, the Queen of Swords, and the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords, Queen of Swords, Judgment, and the Moon. Your question for this, for your loved one is, did you disappoint them? Did you disappoint them, but they never told you that? They kept that from you if they were disappointed. And you always worried that you... you always worried that you disappointed them. I don't know if there was some specific incident that happened. I almost feel like there was. It may have had to do with your choice of a spouse or life partner. Some choice that you made of a life direction. You always feared that they were disappointed in you because of this decision that you made. And it was a big decision. It wasn't just what to eat for lunch. It was a decision to move away, or a decision to marry someone, or a decision to be with someone, or a decision to have a child, or a decision to choose a particular job. It was a big decision. But you were afraid to ask them. You were afraid to ask them what they thought, because you were afraid that you let them down. You were afraid that they disapproved, or that they were disappointed. So you always wondered. You always wondered what they thought about this particular decision that you made. So your question is, what did they think about this decision that you made? Were they disappointed with you? What just how did they feel about this decision that you made? So their reply. Spirit, departed of group 1, what is your reply? Okay, so we got the Devil card was the first card that came out. And then we got the Six of Cups and the Queen of Cups. So the reply from your loved one is, your doubts were all in your head. They loved you as if you were still a child. You may have been their child. If this was your mother, you may have been their child. And through all your life, this Queen of Cups, this is the mother of love. And the Six of Cups is a childlike love. So your loved one is saying that they loved you as much when you were an adult as they did when you were a child. You were their child, and so they would always love you. There was nothing that could change their love for you. For those of you that this was apparent, they're saying that there's nothing that you could have done that would have changed their love for you, and that you thinking that was all in your head. They never were disappointed in you. They were never disillusioned by anything you did. And if you had feelings that they were, that was all in your head. They would never want you to believe that. This loving mother and loving child, I mean, there's the bond there is unbreakable, and there's nothing that could get in the way of that bond. So for those of you that this was your mother, no, she was never disappointed in you. And for those of you that this may have been a mentor, they taught you how to go forward into the world, and how to put on your best face, and how to be successful in the world, and how to present yourself, basically, in your best light, so that you could earn the love of your peers, that you could earn respect. They believed in you, and they think that you presented yourself well, but they feel like you may not have been living your true life. They had concerns that you were not being true to yourself. With whatever this decision was, they feel as though you may have made this decision so that you could present yourself in a particular light to those that you loved, or to those that you needed their approval. And so this individual did have concerns that the decision that you made was not actually the best decision for you. It was just a decision that you made so that you could appease other people, or so that you could appeal to other people, or so that you could placate other people so that they would be happy. So in the case of this being a mentor, and perhaps in the case of it being a parent as well, they did have concerns that the decision that you made was not really truly what was best for you. Not that they judged you for doing that. They would never think less of you for doing that, but it made them sad for you and hurt them that you weren't getting everything from your life that you could, had you maybe not gone down this path. They wanted you to have everything that you deserved in your life, and they just may have felt that the decision that you made was more for someone else than it was for you, or it was more for appearances than it was for your true feelings, for your true needs. And so in that respect, they weren't disappointed in you. They were never disappointed in you, and they would never be disappointed in you. But they were sad because they wanted you to have everything that you deserved, and they feared that because of this decision, you may have limited yourself. You may have missed out on some of what you really deserve to have. So that's the answer to your query. So Spirit departed of Group 1, what is something that you want them to know? What is something that you want Group 1 to know? What is something that you want them to know? So we got the Queen of Wands and we got the Three of Cups. So with regard to this question that you had, this decision that you made, that they're concerned that maybe you didn't live up to or fulfill your greatest desires and your best life. We also got the King of Cups. They want you to know that they want you to move forward and grab onto that, whatever it is that genuinely does make you happy. This King of Cups is sort of the master of emotions. So, and then the Three of Cups, you know, is celebrating with those you love. So they want you to step into your power and to genuinely grab for everything that you deserve in your life. We also got the Eight of Pentacles, which is a card of working hard. So it may take some hard work for you to get to the point in your life where you are living your authentic best life. But they want you to feel into what it is that you really need in your life and what you really want in your life. Not what looks best in your life, not what people expect you to do in your life, but what really, really, really makes you happy, what really suits you, what really makes you celebrate, what the people who you want to surround yourself with, even if it's not the people that everyone else thinks that you should surround yourself with. Even if you feel like somebody has sort of a view of who you should be, you know, this might be the view of who people think that you need to be. You know, you need to be this guy that works all the time, but maybe this doesn't make you happy. So what your loved one wants you to know is that they want you to act on what inspires you, on what makes you happy. Surround yourself with the people that make you feel loved, and whatever this decision was that you made, if you feel as though now that you've gotten older and are more mature, but maybe you feel like you're kind of trapped within this decision that you've made in the past, you've built yourself a particular life that maybe now does not feel authentic, doesn't feel right for you, but you don't know how to get out of it. Your loved one is telling you to just take the reins and look around you and see what it is that truly makes you happy and the people who truly make you happy, and take action to change your life to that, what makes you happy. Spirit, can we get some additional clarification, please, on the Eight of Pentacles, please? Why is that here? What is the Eight of Pentacles specifically trying to tell Group 1? Yeah, okay, so we got the Ace of Pentacles as a clarifier for the Eight of Pentacles. So this is basically saying start over, make your life over if you need to do that. Start fresh. Just start at the ground and build your way up. If you need to start over completely, then do that. Because this is some very solid energy. It's not thinking about doing something. It's not, debating about it. It's not just going along for the ride. it's very solid. This Queen of Wands energy is very much master your path. And the bottom of the deck here, we've got the Star. The Star is, fulfill your dreams. So, this energy here is saying there's no Swords energy here at all, which is the energy of thinking about things, of being intellectual, of rationalizing and analyzing. There's none of that here. What this here says is, feel what it is that you need. Feel into your emotions, what makes you happy, what makes you feel loved. And then take the action to do something very concrete and start in a new place. Actually do something, start something new. So, Spirit, can you give us any clarification, please, on the Queen of Wands for group 1? Any additional clarification on the Queen of Wands, please? Yeah. Okay, so we got the Two of Pentacles. So the Two of Pentacles is about keeping things in balance. Right now, your life is out of balance. Your loved one is telling you that things are not balanced for you right now. Whatever this decision was that you made, it is skewing your life more toward maybe outward appearances or what other people want for you, and you're potentially having to do things on the other side that are not healthy for you. I feel like we got the Devil here earlier. So it may be that because there is a part of your life that you feel like you're trapped in, you are swinging to the far other side to do things that are way out of what you would normally do, or maybe dangerous or risky, because you're feeling like you're so trapped and caught up and just unhappy where you are here, that you're trying to swing clear to the other side to balance things out. So right now your life is really out of balance. So the action that you need to take is whatever it takes to get things back in balance again. So if there's something that feels really constricting to you right now, if there's something that feels really uncomfortable, if there's something that feels like you're trapped, you need to break free of that and get that out of your life, and move past it so that you can rebalance things in your life, so that you can start this new path to rebuild a foundation that is stable for you, and to rebuild something that is much more rewarding and satisfying, and makes you joyful and happy and feel loved. So take some time, assess things in your life, look at what doesn't feel right. Look at what doesn't feel comfortable, what feels constricting, what makes you feel sick to your stomach. If you have to, go to your body, see what things feel like in your body. Think about a part of your life and see how that feels in your body and where that is in your body. And that'll give you some indication of, what's right and what's not right. If something makes you feel sick in your stomach, or tight in your chest, or tight in your jaw, or gives you a headache when you think about it, or makes your ears ring, anything like that, that's something that's not right for you. So go through and find those things, and clear that out, and take some concrete action to move things in your life more into balance than they have been. That's what your loved one wants you to know. That's what, when you ask them if they judged you or if they were disappointed in you, They weren't. They never were. They always loved you, but they want you to be happy. They so want you to be happy. So this is their advice to you. So let's see what the oracle card that we pulled ahead of time was. Yeah. Loving kindness is the card that we pulled. Loving kindness. When we feel love and kindness toward others, it not only makes us feel loved and cared for, but it also helps us to develop inner happiness and peace. Loving kindness is the distilled essence of pure love. As you open your heart, you are able to love the unlovable, bring joy to sadness, faith to doubt, and light to darkness. So, that pretty much fits about as well as it could with the message. Love yourself. Do what genuinely makes you feel loved, not what you should do or not what anyone else expects you to do, but develop that loving kindness, feel that loving kindness, and go toward wherever that leads you. So I hope this reading was helpful for you, Group 1. And it's gratifying to me to know that you have this loved one who is still with you and loves you so unconditionally, and they just want you to be happy. So I hope that you can find a way to do that. I am so grateful for your being here so that I can do these readings for you. I absolutely love to read for you, and I welcome you back anytime that you need additional guidance, and I wish you all the best. Thanks. Bye-bye. Hi, Group 2. This is your reading, the Clear Quartz Tower. First messages that we'd like to get are messages for who it is that's coming through for you. Spirit, who's coming through for Group 2, please? Okay, we got the Sun, we got the Two of Wands, we got the Ace of Pentacles, and we got the Three of Pentacles. So this individual was a very happy person. They were someone who always seemed to have it all. And by that, I don't necessarily mean that they were rich, but they were always happy in their life. They were always content with what they had. They always enjoyed they enjoyed their whole life, basically. They enjoyed their home, they enjoyed their friends, they enjoyed their job. They just were an all-around happy person. A happy person who had just a tremendously good outlook on life. The Two of Wands is somebody who basically has it all at their fingertips. And the Ace of Pentacles is someone who has just an abundant life that they probably have built themselves from the ground up. And in fact, the Three of Pentacles would indicate that, yes, this is someone who is a very hard worker, someone who their work was fruitful for them. They may have been someone that you worked with, or it could be that they just were someone who worked their whole life, but not in a way that, they were always just barely trying to get by. That's not them at all. They enjoyed their work. They may have worked with people and they enjoyed the interaction with people. They may have worked with their hands and they enjoyed what they made with their hands. Their work was very gratifying to them. And through that gratification of their work, they were oftentimes very happy. They built a wonderful life for themselves, and they just always seemed like they never wanted for anything. They just, whatever they needed, they had. And it wasn't that they were necessarily wealthy, or they may not have even been, particularly well-to-do, but their wants were simple. Their happiness was more important to them than things. They had a very comfortable life. They made their life very comfortable themselves, and by that I mean their physical surroundings were very comfortable for them. They were just very satisfied with their life. They may have been a craftsman. They may have worked with some sort of earth element. They may have been a gardener, and not necessarily, well, they may have been like a landscaper or an arborist or something along those lines. They may have been someone who worked with wood, maybe building furniture, building homes perhaps, but I feel like it was more of a craft than like just building a home. If they did have something along those lines, they may have been like a finish carpenter. They may have been an artist, but I feel as though it was more of a functional type of work than necessarily like a painting or something. But I feel like they did something very, very material of the world, solid. They weren't somebody who was like a boss, or I mean, they may have been somebody who led other people, but they led by what they did. They led by showing people and teaching people how to do what they did. So again, kind of more of a craftsman, or a mentor of some sort, but just someone who was very happy all the time, and they were just very content with their life. They were very grateful for what they had in their life. They probably had a loving family, and they always had some sort of companionship, whether that was some sort of a spouse, or a pet, or family members who lived nearby, but they were never lonely, although they were fine with their own company as well. So that is who is coming through for you. I hope that's clear enough. Spirit, could we get maybe one more clarifying card on that? Be a little more specific. Okay, the Chariot. The Chariot. Okay, so this was somebody who loved cars. Very likely vintage cars. Or they like to travel. So hopefully that kind of helps to narrow it down. I feel like this may have been kind of a little bit vague, although maybe not. But just if that was, if that was not clear enough, this is someone who liked to, they like to drive cars, they like to refinish cars, they like to travel, something to do with moving. So there's a little additional hint as to who it might be that's coming through for you. So what is Group 2's relationship with the departed? Spirit, what is the relationship that the departed and Group 2 had with each other? Okay, the Hierophant, the High Priestess, and the Ace of Rods. Wow, that's amazing. This person was a teacher for you. This person, and they may not have been, formally a teacher, but this was someone who taught you about life. Whether this be, I said that this might be a craftsman, someone who, maybe took on, maybe this was someone who took you on as an apprentice and taught you their craft. This could be a parent who taught you throughout your life. This could be an actual teacher that you had when you were in school or college or something like that. But this person had a very, very strong impact on you in teaching you the value of life, it's funny because I had, just a very strong impression that this person was just kind of was kind of salt of the earth, you know, down to earth kind of an individual. But yet I'm also getting a feeling that this individual taught you some great mysteries, some secrets of life. And I feel like that they did that by teaching you about the value of understanding your own value. I feel like they taught you some profound lessons that not everyone understands or gets. And they were absolutely skilled and masterful at doing this. They taught you in a way that seemed like they were teaching you a craft, but it was almost as though it was a parable. It was almost as though, in teaching you this craft, they were teaching you about life. And they were teaching you how to interact with other people. They were teaching you how to have self-confidence and how to have compassion for others. It was just an amazing way. I mean, this Ace of Rods, this which came between the High Priestess and the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is kind of like, the classic teaching that you get at school. Reading, writing, and arithmetic, and then the High Priestess is sort of esoteric teaching or learning. The mystery schools, the intuition, the spiritual teaching. So the Ace of Rods in between these two is as though they were pulling together this very earthly, down to earth, nuts and bolts kind of teaching, and this very esoteric, spiritual, mystical type of teaching into one forum, one place. They on the surface they were teaching you a craft, but the underlying current of that is that they were teaching you about life. So I feel as though this was an amazing individual. And it wasn't that they said, look, here's the way spirituality works, or here's how to do this. It wasn't that at all. It was just that their manner and the way that they taught, the way that they had such compassion and such patience and such just such an open heart, just let you begin to see the underlying current under just the day-to-day things that we do that ties everything back to who we are and how we're connected. So this person was a teacher for you, but an amazing teacher, a one of a kind, just an amazing individual. Wow. So, what is Group 1's query or question for this departed? What is their question, please? What do they want to know? Okay. This is crazy. We got almost exactly the same cards in the other group with regard to the question. Or very similar cards in the reading, at least. We got the Star, we got the Page of Pentacles, the Devil, the Judgment card, the Fool, and the Nine of Wands. So, your question. a different question, though. Your question is you want to know if this person, where they are now, you very much want to know. You want to know. This is like nuts and bolts, heaven and hell kind of stuff. You want to know. You want to know what the afterlife is like. Kind of. That's almost what I'm hearing. You want to know what happens after we die. Do we go to heaven, the star? Do we go to hell? What happens when we're judged? Sorry, I'm having a hard time kind of pulling all of this together. You want to know where they are and what happens when you die. And you know, I think this was part of the teaching from this individual. I believe that there was some part of the teaching about what happens when we die. You as the young student of this mentor didn't understand what they were trying to tell you about what happens when we die. Yeah. You couldn't make sense of what it was they were trying to get at when they told you about, or when they tried to help you understand what happens when we die. They wouldn't give you a flat out answer. And so now that they are passed on, you want to know. You want to know what does happen when we die. It's almost as though you want them to come back and tell you. You want them to come back and let you know what happened and that they're in a good place. Okay. Okay, so, Spirit, what is your answer for group 2? What is your reply to them? Okay. None of this is going to be easy here. Wow. Okay, so we got the 10 of Swords, the 8 of Cups, the 3 of Swords, the 7 of Wands, the Moon, and the Magician. So what they want you to know is that okay, what we do while we are here on Earth, the things that we leave undone, the things that we inflict upon others, the confusion that we have while we're here that causes us to fight against each other, and the heartache that we dole out are what will ultimately manifest in the afterlife. What happens? So So it's impossible to say what happens after we die, because anything is possible. And it's all hidden from us until we get there. But it hinges upon all of the actions that we undertake while we are here in this lifetime. In particular, the actions that harm ourselves or others will have a bearing in the afterlife. But that there isn't a heaven or hell necessarily. In both of these cards, we have the two towers, we have the wolf and the dog, and here we've got heaven and earth, as above, so below. So what this departed again wants to teach you is that what happens after we leave here is a collection of the energy that we left here in this world, of the marks that we made while we were here in this world. And the things that are going to be the most obvious to us, or have the most impact to us, for us, when we move on from this energy, are the things that we left undone, or the things that created harm, or the things that frightened us. These cards are all, to a certain extent, or one extent or another, very negative energies. So the negative energy that we leave here, that we leave a mark here with the negative energies, is going to ultimately be what manifests for us. No, let me take that back. The negative energy is not necessarily what manifests for us, but it is going to, any energy that we leave in this realm is going to create a balance that will be hidden from us until we reach the afterlife. And at that point, again, we will be balancing that energy. And because that energy has to be balanced between higher and lower vibrations, good and bad, whatever you want to call it, where you end up in the afterlife is going to depend on where the balance was here on Earth. So if you expend or leave behind more negative energy, or if you, let's say, take on more negative energy, because we do, when we perpetuate negative actions or have negative feelings, we take that on. So if you leave more negative energy in this world, or if you expend more or have more negative energy in this world, then the balance that you have to restore in the next world is going to be skewed in that direction. You're going to have to, in essence, alchemize that energy, change it from negative energy to a more neutral energy. The lesson that they want you, their reply to you about where are they and what happens in the afterlife, is that it hinges upon what happens here. And so it always balances itself out. It always will balance itself out. you're never, our energy is never stuck in one polarity. It flows to the place of least resistance. So it levels itself out. It's like if you've got a container that has two sides that hold water, and you fill one side very high and the other side very low, and then you remove the partition between the two parts, the water is going to flow to where it evens out to the same level on both sides. And that's the way energy flow goes. It's always going to alchemize the energy or flow to where everything is equal, to where the energy is equivalent. So if you pass into the afterlife with a great deal of negative energy that's not been balanced here on Earth, then you will have a greater time, although time is irrelevant there too, but you will have a greater existence in balancing out that negative energy. And if the energy is more balanced here when you're here on Earth, if you balance your negative energy with positive energy as you're here, then there's less time that it takes to equilibrate once you go into the afterlife. And equilibration or harmony is where our energy strives to be, and where we strive to be in harmony. So the answer, in a roundabout way, and I'm sorry this is taking so long, the answer to the question, what happens after we die, is it depends on what we did when we're here. What we do after we die is our energy tries to get back to a place of harmony. And so depending on how out of harmony you were here is where you're going to end up spending the most time, again, relative term, in the afterlife, trying to balance and become harmonious. So if you did a lot of bad stuff here on Earth and you don't make amends, then when you get to the afterlife, you have to spend a lot of your afterlife in a place where you have to deal with that bad energy, basically. So it may be, and I suspect it is, what people equate to heaven and hell. If you had a lot of bad karma here on Earth and you need to fix that in the afterlife, you spend a lot of time in hell. You have to go through and deal with all of that bad energy. If you had a lot of good energy here, you're good. So that's kind of a long roundabout answer to your question, what happens after we die? And where is this individual? And I suspect that because this individual was such an amazing teacher, they're probably pretty much in harmony in heaven. Whatever you want to call it. They're in a place that is, and everybody has to go through this equilibration. So it's just kind of a matter of how much of it you have to go through. So, sorry about that. Spirit, what is it that you want Group 2 to know? What is it that your loved one, Group 2, wants you to know, or your departed who's coming through? What do they want you to know? Okay. What they want you to know is that there's always going to be heavy burdens to carry. There's always going to be difficult, confusing decisions to make. And there's always going to be things that are going to knock you out of balance in this lifetime. They want you to know that. Spirit, can we get some additional clarification? I suspect what they're saying is that even though you're going to be, yes, okay. Even though you're faced with all of these things, even though you're going to be faced with heavy burdens to carry, difficult decisions to make, times when you're thrown out of balance, we all need to strive to a place where we love one another, and we are the caretakers of one another. So ultimately, even though this life, this earthly life is tough, it is tough, we can make moving through this earthly life and through the next existence much more rewarding for ourselves and for all of the energy, because it all goes back together, by always remembering that we need to take care of one another and we need to love one another. So that's what your departed wants you to know. Sorry that got so wordy and long-winded, but this is an amazing, amazing individual who came through for you. I am so grateful to be able to receive this wisdom myself, and I would have loved to have known this individual, and I'm grateful and I'm happy for you that you did have the opportunity to be mentored by this individual, because they're an amazing energy, amazing. Let's take a look at the oracle card that we pulled. Pure mindfulness is the card that we pulled. Pure mindfulness. Mindfulness is the miracle by which we master and restore ourselves. With mindfulness comes the awareness that what has happened in the past is only memory, and that what is going to happen in the future is but a form of fantasy. Be still and open to the most precious moments that life presents to you. All the opportunities and blessings to be found are unfolding for you in the now. Interesting about this card, I said at least twice, I know, and perhaps more than that time is relative. Mindfulness deals with that very much so. In actuality, unless we are in a state of mindfulness, we are never, ever in the present. Because with our faculties as a human, by the time we have registered what just happened, it's gone. So we, in effect, are always living in the past, because as we become aware of a particular moment, it's already gone. So time really is tremendously relative. It's a perception. It's not really a reality. So what we have is mindfulness. We have this tremendous energy and power and connection, and it's not thinking about things. That's not it at all. It's being present and being aware of what is around us. And I think that's probably one of the lessons that your loved one wants to pass on to you. So I'm not sure what else to say about this reading. What a tremendous individual this was. And I'm happy that you had the opportunity to know them, and I'm sorry that they passed. But thank you for allowing me to read for you, and bring this individual through, because it's really enriched me listening to these messages as well. Oftentimes I have no idea what's coming out. In fact, I never have any idea what's going to come out in the cards. So this has been really a great lesson. So again, I'm grateful that I was able to read for you. I love to read for you, and I welcome you back anytime you need any sort of guidance, anytime that you want this connection. I'm happy to be here for you. So I wish you all the best. I hope that this has really been a touchstone for you, because what an amazing person to have had in your life. I wish you all the best. Blessings. Bye.